the little AI that I've been playing with and trying to figure out its level of competency. And if I'm right, it's been listening to what I'm saying, and it's going to respond with something that might make no sense or complete sense. It's crazy.
I know exactly what you mean.
See? So it doesn't understand exactly what I was trying to say contextually because it was too complex. But it's interesting. It seems to be learning. And sometimes, once in a while, it trips you up.
I agree.
So there you go. Anyways, no more silliness for today. We'll play with that another time because that's pretty interesting. Good morning to everybody. And good morning, Beth and Libby. And thank you for coming. And everybody's, Sonia's coming in. Everybody's popping in. I hope you're having an awesome day and a very good morning and a positive morning and a good day and a positive day yesterday. Yesterday for me was quite entertaining. We'll talk about that in a second. Donna, good morning. Hello, and good morning to everybody. So that's not just for me. That's for all of you. I hope you're all having an awesome day. And yes, I was told that, when was the last time? Oh, I didn't stream yesterday. I was in the States. The day before, that I was a little bit negative. So I might have been, because we're talking about all this, nonsense around the Freedom Convoy and the Commission, the clown show, and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't trying to be negative. I mean, I was trying to come from a positive frame, meaning, we get to make fun of some of this stuff and not let it affect us, emotionally and bother us that much. But, just because we discuss negative things doesn't mean that the framing was emotionally negative. And I was that's why I joke about stuff and I don't let it get to me and I make fun of it, because that's how you kind of let things not bother you so much. Karen, good morning. Karen's so sweet. Karen says, I missed yesterday. Well, I wasn't here yesterday. Where was I yesterday? I was in New Jersey yesterday morning, and I was thinking about, should I try to do a stream from the truck, but I'm like, that's just too much. Good morning, Lori, Claudette, everybody. Diane Deans was not holding back in the city of Ottawa. It's a clown show. Yeah, I have some comments about Diane Deans. Because again, we were there trying to walk through this stuff with our lawyers, which is going to be another issue as it comes up over time, and watching her during the convoy and how they reacted. And it's really fascinating to understand what was, like, we had a good sense of what was going on behind the scenes, or at least I did, because I have friends and family in policing, so on the policing side, and it's a small community, you could get information and figure things out. But it's really interesting to see what they were doing, what was motivating them, and what they're lying about. They're all lying. Karen used to live in New Jersey. Where did you live in New Jersey? It's funny, a little thing about New Jersey. People here always think New Jersey is like, I don't know, Newark or something like that. But when you go to the rural areas of New Jersey, like the, what's it called? The Delaware Gap thing, whatever it is. It's beautiful, man. It's got mountains and rivers running through the mountains. It's very rural. It's not what you would think of when you hear New Jersey. You think, like, I look at Newark as America's Hamilton. But it's the complete opposite when you go to Glen Ridge. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so it's New Jersey is actually quite beautiful, as is rural New York State. Like, if you haven't driven, I used to drive across the U.S. all the time, but if you've never driven across the United States, you realize how rural most of it is. Even the states that we think are I always get confused. There, it's blue states. So even states they think are liberal states, no, it's just the city. When you get outside of the city, everybody is at least far more objectivist, I think we can call it. So I think the Sopranos opener, when I think of Jersey, I've never seen the Sopranos. There's that show and the other one. What's the other one they always ask me about? Game of Thrones and Sopranos. I'm not a TV guy. I watch documentaries and nerdy stuff. There was a great post yesterday that said, you're not going to. There's a great post yesterday that said, when Pat King gets on, we will finally hear the truth. No. I think you're going to hear probably the opposite of that. I don't think it's not fair. That's not fair. Not that you won't hear the truth. I think you'll hear somebody who has, and there's a couple of them, who have no concept of the legal process. So they're going to get up and talk about vaccine data and all that stuff, which is kind of the opposite. That has nothing to do with this commission. That's not what it's trying to find. And I think people might get a little bit, I don't know. Everybody wants to be a star, or many people want to be a star. And everybody, they get a little bit drunk with the camera. And I think you might see a little bit of that. But I don't know. We'll see. Give people a fair shot. I'm not a fan, but I don't think anybody should be thrown in jail for having stupid opinions. We can't live in a society like that. So it was so entertaining watching the officials try to cover their asses and end up looking absolutely ridiculous. So that's. And by the way, I don't want this stream to become the commission stream, and that's all we talk about. I mean, today we will, because I've been away for a couple of days, but kind of the primary mandate here is just to focus on getting people out of a state of anxiety, despite all the nonsense that we're dealing with, and focus on all the good things and gratuity and reciprocity for other people around us, just to get us out of all this negative nonsense that media is pushing us through. So we'll talk about this stuff because it's really relevant right now. But I do want to do it as much as I can from the frame of, I don't know, calm and I guess ridicule, because they were so pathetic. Okay, so let's talk about, and I'll go through this pretty quick. Today's going to be a little bit short because I got to get on the phone with my lawyer and the team that's working on the book down south. So then I got to head out to my truck and go down south. All right. So Diane Deans, I'll tell you what I know. Okay, we all heard the testimony. We have to go like bit by bit. She said this here and that here. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. Anybody can go back and watch that. But what I found was interesting. She is, in my opinion, extremely, no surprise, extremely manipulative, right? Like many politicians, right? They can't govern for their life dependent upon it, but manipulate people, that they can do, that they have covered. During the convoy, I remember seeing her and thinking, like, somebody's got to get this woman a straitjacket. She's got to chill and relax because she's screaming. Firstly, before I get to her losing her mind and losing control of her emotions, prior to the Freedom Convoy arriving, we had somebody on the ground there for a week. And he was on a week setting up and kind of working out where trucks are going to park, and he was getting maps from the police, and the police were helping him just to make sure everything was safe and emergency vehicles wouldn't be obstructed and all that sort of stuff. So that went on for a week. And Diane Deans and the mayor, I don't know if it was a city council meeting or a police board meeting, one of them. It's somewhere on YouTube. I have the link. They were patting themselves on the back about we're helping the truckers come in and freedom of speech, and Ottawa's a place where everybody can come in and have their protest, and we respect everybody's right to protest and whatever. I guess they're regretting that now, even though that's what it should be. So that went on for a week. And I don't remember which day it was because, again, it was all one big. In order to do our timeline for the book, we had to go back to my interviews and go back to various news articles and try to piece. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was all one day and that was all one day, and kind of figure it out, right? So I don't remember exactly which day that she lost her mind. It was so funny. She starts screaming and having a temper tantrum. and I think it was the police services board meeting, and she's, these extremists and terrorists. She called us terrorists, occupiers, which I'll talk about that in a second. She didn't call us Al Qaeda, though. I mean, I guess we didn't go that far, right? I was waiting for Al Qaeda, but it was absolutely hysterical. I'm seeing her lose her mind like that. But anyway, so yesterday, what did you see? What did you see? You saw a very, very different Diane Deans, didn't you? You saw somebody who was calm and measured. She was putting on the portrayal of a caring person, that sort of motherly portrayal. She was putting in, she was amplifying vocal fry to show that she's submissive, kind of on a subconscious level, to give you the impression that she's kind of the victim as she attempted to throw the mayor under the bus. Like, it was so funny. Like, that's the duplicitousness of these people. That she knows she has a recording that she only submitted as evidence 10 minutes before, which is highly, highly unethical. And and then she's simple and she's submissive and whatever, and trying to stab the mayor in the heart, which I think is great, because I think they could all stab each other in the heart, because I have no use for any of them. I think this is all, it's just a wonderful clown show that we're watching. Okay, a couple of questions. So BJ, you just want us not to go to hell? Exactly. I'm late. Good morning, Kiss Junkie. It's good to see you. You really have a video of that? Yeah, it's on YouTube somewhere. I have the link archived somewhere in my files. I'll see if I can find it somewhere. But it's pretty interesting. Playing dumb. Well, playing dumb is part of it. They're doing a little bit of, it's interesting with Diane Deans to determine, and we all have this, and I get that, that there's times where she remembered to absolute specificity, but then there are of things that were really not all that consequential. But then there are things that were consequential that came after, and it was, so many things were going on. Well, which one is it, right? And we all naturally have that. There's no question. But in her case, it always seemed to be in her favor of her narrative. That's how you know there's a problem. Like, yeah, we sometimes, there's little things that, because memory is tied to emotion, right? And, that's why there's certain days during the Freedom Convoy, I remember exactly what went on. And other days, just kind of like I had to go back and look, just because, there were days that there were emotional spikes. That's how we operate. But her, it's always for her narrative. It always benefited her narrative. I thought that was quite funny. But after she tried to throw the mayor under the bus, which I guess she kind of did. Politically, she did, that's for sure. So she ended her political career because Watson is ruthless, and he is a Trudeau extremist. So I think that's going to be the end of her political career. Watch, she won't get elected again. Or she'll try to run for mayor against Watson and maybe lose. I don't know. Hopefully they'll all lose. That would be great. That would kind of divide the left, and maybe somebody who's at least centrist and pragmatic could become mayor of Ottawa. They threw the mayor and Slowly under the bus. Yes, so we're going to talk more about Slowly another time. I did a space on talking about him last night. There's so much behind the story that I know, and I'm like, oh, you're not telling the whole truth there. There's a lot more to this, but whatever. It is what it is, right? BJ, do they have to play dumb? They're not playing. They're sneaky. They're very, very sneaky, but sneaky is not necessarily a sign of intelligence, right? If they're halfway intelligent, they'd be able to run a city, and they would have known how to deal with the Freedom Convoy, which would be, hey, pick up the phone, right? Give us a call. And that's another issue that's coming up of the whole deal, no deal. I'll do an episode on all that called Deal, No Deal. Or maybe that'll be the theme of my testimony, which would be kind of fun. I do, and it's a close race between, I thought, I'm still just reading a comment. Doesn't matter. I didn't vote for Ottawa mayor. I do. It's a close race between McKinney and Sutcliffe. Okay, I don't know who. McKinney's the one, the personal pronouns one, and then the other one, I don't know who that is, but whatever. Who cares? City councilors, they're irrelevant hacks. Anyways, so that was my, that's just what I noticed about Diane Deans, that she is a reptile. That's the only way to describe her. It's quite, I mean, they all are, but she really exemplifies that. But then we got on to the interesting part, which was the OPP intelligence officer, Pat Morris. And, I mean, there was so much, you could tell there's so much walking the line. And I think that's good because police shouldn't be political. So in that respect, I was quite, I think we all could have been happy and celebrating that, saying, okay, at least this guy's not going fully into any political camp, which means he probably knows how to survive. But he said there were a few things that were just like, huh? What? He testified that, again, I'm just going to top a couple of things briefly and not get into hyper detail. We'll let that for people speculate on the internet. Said, although highly irregular, no criminal activity occurred during the entire crossing of Canada of these thousands of vehicles. And I thought, oh, wait, I thought it was just a couple hundred trucks. So now we're admitting that there were thousands of vehicles. Oh, isn't that true? Does somebody want to call the fake news and inform them that it's more than a few hundred trucks? But the important part is he said there was zero. I think he said it was unprecedented, the size of this, and that so many people would be coming so far across the country, and zero criminal incidents, despite the odd, fender bender here and there. Like, that's going to happen when you have a large group of vehicles. But nothing, zero. So that also seemed to inform him that the likelihood of violence in Ottawa would become elevated. Huh? Maybe I heard him wrong. But I could have sworn he said there was zero criminal activity across the entire country, which is why they were concerned about criminal activity in Ottawa. And I'm thinking, like, wow, dude, you are way too academic. You need to get back onto the beat a little bit and talk to regular people. Clearly, like a lot of academics, living in the world of just political theory, or in his case, security and operations theory. Like I think I understand what he's getting at, but that's also not reality, But anyways, I thought that was funny. And then, yes, he said it was notable that there was no violence. Yeah, there was nothing. His testimony was honest and refreshing. I think it was objective. It's not about whether he was honest or dishonest. I think he was just going based on the facts of his reporting and what they were trying to figure out. But, I don't know that, honesty or dishonesty would play into that. But anyways, but yeah, I don't think he, well, there's a little asterisk there. He did use the word blockade. And I'm getting really tired of hearing these words, occupation and blockade, because I think it's time we drop the hyperbole and inaccurate terms that are there to drive emotion. And this was my problem with his testimony. He mentioned, the possibility and that there would be blockades, or there were blockades. He used it a few times. Now, and we've also heard the term occupation many times. Okay, so in order to have an occupation, you have to have a blockade. A blockade is a necessary part of an occupation. A blockade has a legal definition. And the legal definition of a blockade is all traffic flow is impeded, but so is pedestrian traffic. Now, I don't know for those of you who are not in Ottawa, but those of you who were there, including myself, we saw tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people per week or more entering and exiting downtown Ottawa and walking through the trucks and going back and forth, and then going out and going for dinner, and then coming back to see more people, and then going to the dance party, going to see the soup kitchen, going to get food from the Sikhs that were cooking food for everybody. I didn't see pedestrian traffic impeded. So if the pedestrian traffic wasn't impeded, then legally there was no blockade. And if legally there's no blockade, then there's no occupation. Sorry, not sorry, but I'm gonna hammer them if they try to use that word with me in my testimony. And I'm not going to drop it. I'm going to get really aggressive with it because I'm really sick and tired of these propaganda words that they use. It shows the desperation, right? That they can't just be honest and just say, hey, it was a bunch of people having a dance party. They had some EDM music. We had a stage, country music. There was some Christian rock. Like there was all sorts of music. It was a festival. It was a party. And they mentioned that. Even Diane Dean said, it's so funny. She said, it was all these people. They were like terrorists. They were on the streets having a party. Like, yeah, that's what it did. That's what it is. It's a party. Now, I know nerds in politics were never invited to parties because nobody liked them. But the rest of us would go to parties frequently, and that was it. So just really kind of pathetic. How the blockades on the rail lines in 2020 where was the Emergencies Act for those yahoos? Yeah, exactly. Because this is just, it's a different set of rules for people who are in the working or middle class versus the people who are in the unemployed activist class who work for these NGOs. And it's foreign money that's funding them, and some of that foreign money goes to campaign contributions. So that's probably why. So anyways, then he said something very, very important in his testimony, and this is why you'll read about it in my book. I lost my mind. I completely lost it on somebody when I first met him. And when you read the book, you'll understand that. He said they were particularly observing mood and behavior as something very important to consider. Now, I mentioned before that I have family in policing. I was working with Quiggin for a few years doing his podcast and learned a lot from him in how things work in these sort of operations. And they mentioned Quiggin's reports, by the way. And this is where he was also being deceptive, Pat. He's like, it's Pat Morrison. He said, sometimes it's not uncommon for these organizations to have their own intelligence or counterintelligence to understand what we're doing. And, some people they're civilians and they're just trying to get the limelight and trying to get credibility. So Tom was trained by the Canadian government as an intelligence analyst and worked for the Privy Council and the RCMP and various branches within the Canadian military as an intelligence officer. So if he's trying to belittle the person that was doing the intelligence briefing for the Freedom Convoy, he's trying to belittle the Canadian military, which I thought was kind of gross, right? It is what it is. And they knew exactly who was drafting it because it had Tom's name on it and said this is exactly what's going on. But anyways, so mood and behavior, he said, was very important. And that is why the messaging, me and Tamara talked about it in the very beginning and explained kind of this is where I want to go with it. This is what's important, that the messaging needs to be about this is a party. It's peace, love, freedom, unity, and freedom. That we're not going to focus on negativity. Yes, we're all frustrated. Yes, many of us have had our businesses and lives disrupted or crushed, but we can't succumb to that. We need to go to positivity and love to bring as many people together, and that's how we'll win this culture war, right? And so that was the importance of the mood and behavior. And then somebody comes in and just shows up and completely undoes that in like a 2-minute video, and I was like, what the fuck? I mentioned that in the book. That's a story in the book. You'll quite like it, and that will also inform a lot of what you're seeing in terms of what is honest and forthright and what is not. And when I saw that happen, that's when I realized, okay, somebody or a bunch of people are here trying to sabotage this. People who claim to be on our side but they're really not. There's something more going on here. So wasn't a leading indicator, but it was an additional indicator that was going on. So even heard the Rolling Stones. Oh, the horror. Well, I'm not a Stones fan. For me, that would be kind of horror. I gotta be honest. Hey, listen, I know people love the Stones. Whatever. All the best to you, but just was never ever mine thing. David, Ottawa is funded by taxpayers. We have constitutional right. Our petition, our government, our perceived real grievances. Trudeau is a troll. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Karen says, what 2-minute video? That will come out, I'm sure, during these proceedings. And will be, I don't want to shoot too soon because it's important that I think some other people are going to bring that up. So I don't want to do anything until that happens. He's doing alternative media circuit now. Was on Rebel and True North. Who was doing that? Who was on alternative media yesterday? Let me know. And then today, oh God, yeah. There's a reason for this. So. Don't think these people are on your side. Let's go back to, we arrived in Canada, and I'm really starting to get annoyed with this. I'm starting to get annoyed with them, and they don't want to see me annoyed. Believe me, they don't. We were there. We arrived. It was the 28th, 29th, whichever day it was. Finally saw Tamara downstairs. Whatever. We did our first news conference. And after the news conference, I got a message from, and you have to think about this from a journalistic perspective, okay? We just finished our interviews, myself, Tamara, and Chris. And I got a call from Alexandra from Rebel News. She wanted to interview us. She missed the interview. It was her, Lincoln, and Mocha. Whatever the miscommunication was, because I had sent an email to Ezra saying we're having a press conference. If you want to come, come. And Andrew Lawton was there and all that sort of stuff. So they showed up. We did an hour-long interview. Chris had to go somewhere, and Chris is not really, he said to me, we're on stage together. And I said, okay, Chris, Tamara will speak. Then you can speak, and then I'll close it up at the end. And he leans down, and Chris is like 8 feet tall, and he's the nicest guy. I think he's the nicest guy. And he leans down, and he says, I don't like speaking in front of large crowds. I'm like, well, you want to be a spokesperson? Okay, fine, I'll do it. Okay, great. Because he's great on TikTok. He's got a really good TikTok, but I guess the size of the crowd, I guess, would be intimidating for a lot of people. Anyways, so... Rebel News comes, and we do an hour-long interview, 1 hour. And during that time, my inbox was flooded from news agencies all over the world. I-24, ABC in Australia, BBC in England, obviously post-millennial, Fox, and all that sort of stuff, and Newsmax, and but a German media. A lot of it was left-wing media, so I kind of just, all right, we'll put you in timeout. But all over the world, legacy media was trying to get an interview with us. And I needed to get the word out clear of us in our full context, okay? So I thought, perfect, this is I'll kill two birds with one stone. Rebel wasn't here, they're showing up, I'll just give the interview to Rebel, because Rebel will put out the entire interview in its full context, and then there will be no confusion, because everybody will know the mode and the tone of the protest. That'll peace, love, unity, and freedom. Okay? So they show up. We do an hour, me and Tamara, for an hour. Our full context. Everybody understands it. Rebels got it. Alexandra says, okay, this is great. This is amazing. She was all excited. Kind of like, I guess, a big break or something. I'm going to go translate it, so we'll have it in French and whatever. Okay, fine. Next day, I messaged Alexander. I think it was the next day or the day after. I messaged Alexander and said, "What happened to that? What happened to you got to remember, in the context of media, this was the exclusive interview with us arriving in Ottawa on the first day. Every media in the world wanted Freedom Convoy and Freedom Convoy 22, Freedom Convoy Canada, all of it was trending for like 3 days straight in Twitter. Like this would have been tens of millions of views. So where's the interview, Ezra? Where is it? And you know what he did? He spiked the story. Spiked it. Didn't even upload it. Didn't upload it at all. And that's why when Tamara was arrested the second time, and Ezra posted, you know, a 3-second comment or 10-second comment from Tamara saying this is the person the government is arresting, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I recognize that sleeve next to her. Who is that sleeve? Oh, that's me. And I'm like, yeah, what happened to the rest of the hour of that interview? So clearly there was a group of people working together to control the narrative around the Freedom Convoy. Because why would they spike it? And that caused, Ezra and Rebel Media caused so much problems for us. Because the complete, full context of everything that Tamara and I were working towards in terms of the message and getting it out there for the entire world, I thought they would be good stewards and put it out there so there would be no ambiguity. But Ezra spiked it. So, why? So welcome to the National Telegraph. I think they're a little bit... anyways, we'll get on. So it was on Treble, Rebel and True North. Tom M. Oh my God, this guy's giving me such a headache. Yeah, you know, somebody is calling around to other witnesses and trying to get them to lie under oath in the commission. Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that. I bet the commission is going to be interested to know that. Yes, the Rebel played a part of it in their documentary. Yeah, I guess so. Anyways. All right, so today, Kathy Van Horn, she says Rebel News has paid opposition. I don't know if that's the best. There's something more to that. Did you know, by the way, the Democracy Fund is Ezra Levant as well? I don't know why that's not public knowledge. So you have the JCCF, which is hired by Keith Wilson, and who is Ezra's very, very close friend from law school. And then you have the Democracy Fund, which is Ezra Levant. So whatever, it is what it is. They'll do what they do, and they're clearly trying to prop up Tom M. You know what everybody should look up? Tom M's IMDb number. That's right, as an actor. Look at his IMDb number. Anyways. All right. So, yes, Ezra, Rebel fundraises for it on their platform. Well, fundraising is a key word with that whole group of people. But and Kathy says, the judge was a longtime Liberal supporter. Big surprise here. He was, but from what I understand, he was appointed by Paul Martin, and he's a Paul Martin type Liberal, and the Paul Martin type Liberals hate Justin Trudeau. They didn't have much use for him when he got elected leader, and they were kind of blindsided because it was a long shot. But, you know, they'll toe the party line, and then they just decided, okay, they're tired. You know, they sat back and were quiet for long enough, and then they Then they moved to the position they're in right now, which is they're not terribly pleased with Prime Minister Blackface. So I'm not sure. You know, people want to move on. It seems to be within the Liberal Party. The few people reached out to me. They want to move on beyond the blackface years, get back to being Liberals without destroying the reputation of the without destroying the reputation of the Liberal Party itself. So they want to keep the mechanism well and the brand of the Liberal Party intact, while also getting rid of a Liberal Prime Minister, which is a difficult thing. That is Jason Digler. Yes, he is. That's just, if you want to know what he's asking, you have to go to Locals. You have to subscribe there. Yes, 100%. 100%. Okay. So next, Steve Bell is going to be going today. Now, Steve Bell was he's the interim, the interim police chief, and I have a feeling Because Diane Dean said yesterday that Steve Bell said to her that he wouldn't do anything differently than Peter Slowly. But then he did the complete opposite, right? He's the one who brought in the Gestapo to help turn the country into a banana republic. I have a feeling he's going to throw her under the bus. I have a feeling he's going to come in and say, well, I don't know why she's saying that I said that. I didn't say that. I said that I would do A, B, and C. But who knows? We'll see. But then that would throw Slowly under the bus. And then you have that thing about, competing. You have two police chiefs. Are they at odds with each other? I don't know. But it gets worse and worse. Oh, my God. Enough with the... Why are these bots putting all this crap on the stream? If you see so many inappropriate material, that's not me. That's probably the 50 Cent Army. And those of you who know China know exactly what that is. But anyways, and I think what he'll do is, but maybe I'll be wrong, but I think he'll also grossly exaggerate the claims or the false narrative that there was pandemonium in the city, right? That the hot tub and the beers and the barbecues and whatever, that they're all extremists and all that sort of stuff. I think that's what he's going to do. And that public safety and the occupation and lawlessness. My guess is that's what you're going to see out of Steve Bell, but maybe I'm wrong, right? It's already been glorious watching them all throw each other under the bus. But whatever. I think also he has no choice. He has no choice because he's the one who not only brought the violence, but he also made the statement that they will continue to prosecute people who participated in the Freedom Convoy in any way, shape, or form, or however he worded it. So he said they're going to hunt people. That's what he was implying. We're going to hunt people down. I don't know, buddy, you watch a little too many movies because that's not how the real world works. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and we'll go for there. But I do promise you, my testimony will be very, very, very interesting. And don't believe the narratives you're seeing on either side. They're all lying. Everybody is lying. So, but I'll do my best to clear that up, and we'll go from there. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. This is really important. I don't know. I saw some Twitter space last night. I'll get to the comments in a second. Saw some Twitter space last night that some idiots are. I don't mean to be disparaging, but it's the only way to describe them. Want a Convoy 2.0 in the middle of the commission? What are you doing? What are you doing? All that does is help Trudeau. All they're trying to do is say there was a boogeyman. You have all the people on the left saying, oh, there was pandemonium and security and it was dangerous and whatever, which was not true. And in the middle of that, you want to start another convoy? Well, what, are you stupid? Who's fueling that? I want to know who's fueling that, because there's so many people that could be, so many groups, entities within the government that could be suspect in trying to fuel that. Really dangerous. But if you know anybody who is involved in that, tell them no. And I saw some video on TikTok, since I put that Chinese spyware on one of my burner phones, saying that Bridget Belton is involved in this Convoy 2.0. So I called Bridget and I said, what is going on here? She's like, I'm not involved in any convoy. They asked me for some information just generally about, the convoy, what we did and stuff like that. But that's it. She's like, I'm not involved in anything. I would never be. It would be the stupidest thing for me to do right now. So, okay. So people seem to be trying to build something up. And I don't know if it's the people who want to help Trudeau or people who want to fundraise money, which seems to be the other main motivator in all of this. Who knows? But just if you have anybody, you see anybody promulgating and trying to encourage people the importance of a Convoy 2.0, please tell them to stop. Anyways, Claudette, there are grifters. There's a whole lot of grifting going on with a whole lot of money, and I know where that money is coming from, and there's a whole lot of it, and we're talking big numbers. We're talking well into the 6 and 7 figures of money that's being passed around all over the place to various people to keep them either quiet or in line with a narrative or something like that. I haven't got a dime, and I don't want a dime. So I'm not, because I want to be able to be honest and not confined by any, other pressure points, if you will. I'm okay. Comment here on locals. I'm stunned that no one. Oh, now okay. So I'm stunned that no one is challenging him on this use of illegally obtained documents to target protesters. Assange is rotting in jail for the third-party holder, and from my knowledge, it is supposed to be reported to Interpol or the FBI. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a complicated world, and it is a very political world, and there's a lot of people who are easily pressured by political parties. And just so you know, like the Conservative Party, aside from the friends I have in there, they hate me. They absolutely despise me. And it's because there's a certain narrative that I won't follow, and I did obstruct some of the grifting in terms of funding for a while. And but that's why I'm going to make sure my testimony is entertaining and stay within this whole positive. So here we go. We just talked about a whole bunch of stuff, a mess of stuff, and people who are duplicitous and dishonest and backstabbing, and the grifters and people stealing funds, stealing donations from one organization, moving into another, and all that sort of stuff. Fine. But it's not affecting me negatively. Shouldn't affect you. If it's not affecting me, and I'm just going to go about my daily business, and in the capacity of the commission, I'm just going to go in and say my piece, and explain everything that was actually going on, and give some context that will be intentionally omitted. And then I keep going on with my life, right? And it's the same for you. Like, this is just background noise. It's interesting. Everybody knows Trudeau is authoritarian. Even the police chief from yesterday, the intelligence guy, Pat Morris, he even said that the people have had an extreme concern about authoritarianism. So they know that Trudeau is a joke. They know he's violating the Constitution and all that sort of stuff. So it is what it is. It's fine. It shouldn't affect you because it's going to take time. But all of this will, over time, self-correct as the pendulum of culture starts to swing back to at least the center, and then it'll go back to the right. And then the next generation or two generations over, it'll go back to the left. Like, that's how this works, right? And we're just living in the era where it's gone pretty much as far as it can go to the left, and it's about to self-correct. And it'll self-correct for another 10, 15 years. So it's nothing to get upset over in your day-to-day life. It is what it is. People are what people are, and don't let it negatively affect you. That's just how it is. So when you watch these hearings, I mean, watching it all day is a lot. I mean, I can understand how people get emotionally trapped into it and emotionally invested in the outcome. You shouldn't be, because the outcome is going to be government bad, Trudeau bad, Convoy bad, everybody bad, didn't do this protocol, insert these new regulations these new steps into the Emergency Measures Act, and everybody's bad, take your ball and go home. That's what it's going to be. People are like, there's some people that were counseling people affiliated with the Convoy saying, yeah, we're going to, I remember this in Ottawa, what are you, crazy? And I'm like, how are you a lawyer? Or how are you people lawyers? They're like, oh yeah, we're going to take Trudeau to the International War Crimes Tribunal. And I'm like, no, you're not going to do that, because that's never going to happen. That's not how the world works. You might like that, you might want that to happen, but that's not how the world works. So it is what it is. And that's it. But don't let it get you down. Watch it. If you start to realize you're getting negative or upset about it or whatever, just turn it off. Just turn it off and go back to other things you like in your day, and then come back to it. Like, it's not, it's a little bit of a soap opera, there's no question, but it's not something that should be causing you any sort of negativity whatsoever. Okay, let's see. That's what Trump did, but he got big surprises. I don't understand the context of the comment, Barbara. I must have said something, and I apologize. If you want to clarify, I'll put it up there. Kathy says there will be time will tell, but it certainly looks like he's on the side of Trudeau. Anyone for the convoy isn't giving the same time allowance to speak. Just frustrating. Yeah, but don't think that all the people that were speaking on behalf of the convoy are in alignment with each other, because there are some people that are captured and feel like they're in jail and they can't speak honestly and openly because they've been repeatedly threatened for several months. And then there's some of us who just don't care and don't succumb to that sort of intimidation and pressure. And we're just going to speak openly. So you might see the same thing on the other side, where the people are throwing each other the bus in the political sphere. Maybe you're going to perceive that you're seeing that on the side of people that were all involved in the convoy, because maybe people were, talking out of both sides of their mouths. Like, you never know, right? It'll be interesting to see what happens. I have no idea why Tom, I explained this to what's it called? Andrew Lawton, when he called me about his book, and I explained this in my book, that Tom Marazzo was, when I came back from the hospital, he just showed up, and assuming that he was vetted, I didn't know he had an IMDb number, and he starts, he said, okay, well, I'm just going to be a ghost. I'm like, okay, perfect. So we're going to stop stepping on each other's shoes. I'll take care of the logistics. Okay, I don't know what logistics is required because the trucks are already parked, but okay. And then the next day he starts doing news conferences and gets drunk with the camera again. And, who does he work for? Who hired him and brought him there? He mentioned that people called him and told him to go to Ottawa. Why and who did it? I mean, I know. I'm pretty sure. But... And the fact that, Andrew Lawton understands this, yet every time Andrew opens his mouth, he says Tom Marazzo. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? The guy had nothing to do with it. Anyways. And then he also, Tom Marazzo at the same time says, oh, I had such a small role in it. Okay, that's true. That's why I only spoke to him, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, because he had such a small role. And then I find out he's meeting with the mayor. So all these people, the group of people are meeting with the mayor. I don't know who are these people? Where'd they come from? Anyways, it's really funny. Hopefully you guys will still put 2 and 2 together, but I know some people are trying to put the pieces together. And this is where I say, so who do you think sabotaged the Freedom Convoy? It's so funny. Anyways. Watson called it 3 weeks of hell. If I'm not mistaken, hell froze over in February. Yeah, 3 weeks of hell. I guess Watson doesn't like to go to a party because it was all peace, love, unity, and freedom, and people having cookouts together and hanging out and loving one another. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm going to have to run. I got to get down to the States. I got to make a call and then get down to the States. Thank you all for all your love and support. From me, all you're going to get is the unfiltered truth, because I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm moving on with my life, and it is what it is. So let the people in clown world do what they do, and I think it's going to blow up in their face because they're not being honest, and they're going to get caught, and it's going to be a problem. Clown World, I missed a couple of days of I don't know why the POEC, like only an idiot bureaucrat would come up with that. Like, it's not you, by the way, it's not you saying that. I know it's the people in the government. I just got the EMAC, the Emergency Measures Act Commission. It's simple, runs off the tongue, better branding, whatever. Finally took a family vacation, yeah. Agreed. Anyways, okay, I have to... It is Clown World, and it's going to become even worse, because you're going to see a bunch of stuff, and then you're going to not know anything that's going on. You're going to have more questions than answers, which is why I put everything on paper in a book, and we researched everything, make sure to get all the dates and everything correct. We are on track. I'm going to talk to them actually in a couple minutes. We are on track for the pre-sale to be tomorrow at some point. I hope they make it for tomorrow night. And once it is, you'll see the domain will be active, and I'll let you know. And you'll be able to go there and pre-order the book. There's going to be a lot of content in there that's going to give a lot of context that's here that you're seeing in this commission, which is why there's certain people doing interviews trying to get ahead of it because they want to promulgate a false narrative, it seems, which is, I mean, I don't know that. I haven't seen the interviews, so I have no idea. But it is what it is, and it's going to get interesting. All right, I got to run. I love you all. Thank you for everything, and please like, share, subscribe to help to get the word out. Safe travels. I will try. I tend to be rather safe when I'm driving, and I'm going to probably be listening to this clown show today while I'm driving, which will be, I don't know, I was giggling all day. Yes, I watch these things and giggle. It's hysterical listening to the people try to get away with what they're trying to get away with. But anyways, for me, I don't care either way. It is what it is. This commission, I don't know if it's going to result in anything with it. It's just going to be a report. So, all right. So thank you. I love you all. I will see you here on Saturday morning. I got to run. Peace, love, unity, and freedom. Exactly, Sonia. Thank you very much. That puts a smile on my face every time I see that.